friends. I'm Carrie Jo, and this is Holy Chuckles Podcast, a space where all meets honesty and where God's gentle humor shows up in the people he chooses. So pull up a seat, take a breath, and let's look together for the sacred in the everyday and the quiet laughter of a God who delights in working through our imperfect stories. Welcome back to Holy Chuckles Podcast. I'm really glad you're here. Today, we're talking about 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 24, a verse that follows naming with discomfort. The truth has already been spoken, and now the focus shifts. Not at stopping the behavior, but managing how it's perceived. This particular verse invites us to notice when concern for impact begins to outweigh responsibility for change. Verse 24, "No, my sons, the report I hear spreading among the Lord's people is not good." He specifically goes to his sons who are priests and says, yo, boys, what you're doing is spreading. And they're not saying good things about it. You are priests. They're all talking about you. They're all talking about your actions. What are you doing? But his concern is centered on what others are hearing, not really on what his boys are doing. The damage is acknowledged publicly. But once again, no boundaries are set. No action is taken to stop the behavior. This verse emphasizes reputation, not repair. Verse 24 symbolically represents concern without courage. This is the state where the truth has been named, discomfort has set in, and attention shifts to how things look rather than what needs to change. This verse reflects an inner dynamic that says, this is becoming visible, this is causing talk, this is uncomfortable, but yet it still avoids intervention. Specifically, this verse shows us that awareness can turn into image management when accountability feels so costly. Where this verse can show up is when we start worrying about perception instead of protection. This verse in our everyday life sounds like, this doesn't look good. This is causing talk. It is uncomfortable. But the underlying pattern remains untouched. We may try to soften the situation. We may try to explain it away. We could even hope it settles down. It's not because we don't care. It's because stepping in to fix the problem, to fix the pattern, to stop the pattern feels risky. Verse 24 lies in that space where discomfort is acknowledged, but courage has not caught up yet. This verse for me is uncomfortably familiar. It is so familiar. This verse isn't about evil or malice to me. It's about containment. It's about privacy. It's about managing how things look so life can keep moving. If I keep it contained, I can keep functioning. That was the rule I learned. In my family, problems weren't talked about openly. Conflict was handled privately. The goal wasn't processing what wasn't right. The goal was appearing okay. I said it in my last episode. What happened in the Botkin household stayed in the Botkin household. Silence wasn't denial. We didn't deny that things were happening, but silence was protection. And that pattern made sense in the world I grew up in. I learned at a very early age, being different meant staying quiet. I knew for a fact I was different in third grade. I didn't know what the name for it was. I didn't understand it yet, but I knew I was not like the other little girls. When I think back, again, I didn't know what the word for it was, but I knew I was gay in third grade. I knew I liked girls in third grade. And I am certain my mom knew. In fact, growing up throughout the years when I was younger, I'm certain everyone knew. Because when I came out, everyone was like, yeah, we knew that. Or, yeah, we figured. Or, wow, it took you so long to tell us. Doesn't mean it was accepted. It just means everyone knew. And again, we didn't talk about it. No one, even the people in my family I felt I was close to, we still didn't talk about it. So my whole life, I carried shame. Not because of who I was, but because silence taught me that my truth was something to manage. I was not taught that I was worthy exactly how I was. I was taught that if I wanted to belong, I needed to blend in. Don't make waves, Carrie Jo. Don't draw attention, Carrie Jo. Don't embarrass the family, Carrie Jo. Don't embarrass the church, Carrie Jo. And don't embarrass yourself. That lesson followed me everywhere. It followed me into all of my relationships. It followed me into my marriages. I didn't lie about what was happening, but I didn't tell the whole truth either. I handled things internally. I carried weight quietly. I offered half truths that kept things orderly. From the outside, everything looked fine. Things looked stable. Things looked handled, even when they weren't. I was the best PR person for myself and for my family. I believed privacy meant maturity. I believed not burdening others meant strength. I believed if I could just keep things contained, life would keep moving. That is verse 24 energy. The harm is known, the discomfort is felt. For most of my life, my nervous system believed this one rule. If I manage how things look, I stay connected and safe. So that one rule, it kept me over functioning, smoothing things over, protecting other people from discomfort. It kept me hiding struggles, staying useful, staying agreeable, staying fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. While everything is blowing up inside, I'm still saying everything's fine. It wasn't a personality flaw. It was my survival strategy. My body believed truth meant rupture. Honesty meant abandonment. And visibility meant danger. So my body chose image management. One of those ways that image management showed up was through overgiving. I compensated by providing, by buying things, by giving things away, by making sure my partners, their kids, their families, and everyone around me was taken care of. Whether it was spending money, giving gifts, giving help, giving time, giving energy. I gave it all away. And even that didn't make me feel whole. Another layer I have to mention is fear. These patterns didn't just continue because they were learned. They continued because change felt dangerous. Fear of the unknown, fear of endings, fear of what would happen if I stopped being who I had always been. Instead of facing that fear, it was just easier to explain the patterns away. It was easier to focus on what someone else did, to blame circumstances, to call it spiritual warfare, if you will, to point to a villain. Some of these explanations I just mentioned, they may contain some truth, but they also kept the responsibility outside of me. And at some point, compassion had to meet accountability. And yes, those patterns, I inherited them. They were passed down from generation to generation to generation. I laugh because in my family, we don't pass down trinkets. We don't pass down wealth. We pass down patterns, and they're not good ones. Some of these patterns I also learned throughout my life. And some of these patterns really did help me survive. But continuing them became my responsibility. I'm not blaming the generations before me, and I'm not shaming myself for the patterns I learned to survive. I'm owning all of them, every single one of them, whether I learned them, whether they were passed down, whether they helped me survive, it doesn't matter. I'm taking ownership. I'm telling my life just as it is. In this very moment, the factual truth of my life is this. I'm healing patterns and traumas. Some I didn't ask for, some I learned. I am divorced twice. In 2025, I left a job I could not function in. I am barely getting by financially. I am currently starting over in ways I haven't since I was in my early 20s. These are not confessions. These are facts. And I am no longer trying to make them sound better than what they are. What changed wasn't my courage. It was my nervous system. As my nervous system began to regulate, and as I began to learn how to regulate my nervous system, I stopped feeling the urgent need to fix the moment. I stopped feeling the need to explain myself. And I stopped feeling the need to control how things were perceived. And this is where faith entered differently for me. I don't believe God met me in perfection here. I believe God met me in my truth. My truth of not having it figured out, not making it look better. God met me in the moment of opening the eyes of my heart to what was already there without needing to fix it first. God met me right where I was at in every moment that I was in. And God didn't ask me to be perfect. God asked me to be in the moment exactly as it was. Messy, uncomfortable, confusing. Sometimes I've been distraught. Sometimes I've been angry. Sometimes I've been confused. And none of that mattered. God just asked me to be exactly where I was at in that moment and feel it for what it was and what it is. And each time I told the truth, I can't afford this. I'm healing. I don't know yet. Nothing catastrophic happened. And that's when my body learned something new. My body learned I can tell the truth, the whole truth, and still be okay. That learning, it didn't happen in my head. It happened in my body. In my past, I confused control with safety. Right now, in this moment, presence feels like safety. So now, instead of managing the narrative, my body allows reality. It allows simplicity. It allows being unfinished, imperfect. Man, I used to spiral about things. And now, learning these things, understanding this verse, understanding the literal, the symbolic, understanding myself. This is why I'm not spiraling the way I used to, even though everything is exposed. Everything is exposed. This verse 24, has helped me see this clearly. This verse isn't who I am. It's who I am becoming aware of. I am no longer living inside verse 24 anymore. I am moving through it by refusing to do what it does. I am letting myself be seen where I actually am instead of where I think I should be. And this is the deepest healing I have ever done. Why this verse should matter to all of us? It matters because it reveals a subtle stall point in change. It shows concern is not the same as accountability. Discomfort does not automatically lead to action. And managing appearances can delay healing. This verse, it helps us recognize when we are trying to reduce noise instead of address the source. Seeing this moment clearly, it matters. It matters because real change begins not when things look better, but when what is harmful is interrupted. This week, it isn't about avoidance. It's about integration. So here's the question that I have for you this week. Where are you letting reality be what it is, allowing truth, discomfort, and visibility to coexist instead of trying to keep everything contained? This verse isn't asking us to explain ourselves or make things look better. It's inviting us to notice what happens when we let the truth be real without containing it, managing it, or rushing it toward resolution. And for now, that is enough.